Hey, what's up you guys? My name is Emma, and today we are going to officially start off our RWBY Volume 7 journey. Now, this is not the reaction link is in the description below, because this one got blocked. I'm going to hope that Chapter 2 doesn't get blocked, because I really don't want to do redirects to you all the time. So right now, while this is a redirect, let's talk about this chapter, shall we? Now, I can't show all of it, but yes, please remember, the link to the Rooster Teeth site will always be there. And so while you guys don't have audio to it right now, I do. So while doing this, it is going to be playing, just not for you guys the whole time. I'm sorry about that, I will say, if it lets me change anything. But, as you can see, we started our journey back off here. And we're at Atlas Mantle, if you will, and all of this crazy stuff is happening. I'm like trying to put these into words, but for one, this is pretty much, it's literally, we're just starting exactly where we left off, which is, to me, amazing. And, okay, yeah, we're here. I can have this playing now. It's really cool, in a way, to see all of this, and, like, they're being greeted, and they're just like, we can't do this, we need to stall for time, because they don't know exactly, they know for a fact if they land in there with their stolen, you know, airship, there's going to be issues, there's going to be problems, and we can't have that happening. And so they're trying to plan this out, and so this leads us, the team, down in Mantle. And we get to our first real good look at this place, and honestly, it is sad. It's definitely more gloomy. Like, when you see, like, the floating island of Atlas, it looks like up there would be, like, just the state of, like, luxury. When you look down here, though, you see, like, just, honestly, chaos. And all of that, and we get to see Ironwood, who does honestly, truthfully look drained and just devoid of any life, really. And it's just so crazy to think about. And if we come here with the kids here, they throw a rock at this robot and hide, leaving Weiss to even be like, yeah, no, this isn't right. And I don't know if it's, like, I think later on she specifically herself states that, like, this is not, she didn't think this is how it should be normally, which, you know, it could be like maybe she just hasn't been down there, or possibly this is a new thing. And yeah, they plan to ditch the ship, and we're not sure if Winter it can even help, because when Weiss is trying to get into contact with her, we see a showing of her saying failure to, you know, abide by the military, it's punishable, you know, like, meaning they can get in a lot of trouble for, you know, what they're doing, even not going to the landing base, and all of that. Which is, yeah, and they're, like, just, Crow's very much so anxious with, like, the whole, can we even trust Ironwood with, like, the state of things right now? And which is very true. It's interesting. Also, the art and all of that in this chapter in particular is really nice, and I love it. And Maria, oh my god. I loved her from last volume, but she continues to just be amazing to me. Now, we're over here, like, just walking in Mantle, looking around, getting our first real look at the place. And it's very interesting. Oh, and elections, and I think, oh, and show your teeth. There's a lot of, interesting, yeah, here we go. Show your teeth. Which, could be a lot of things, I'm not sure. It's just very curious and interesting detail. Oh, and this is where, this robot starts following Yang. I think in my reaction I stated, it's like, oh, well, does it notice her arm? And it takes a picture of her leaning her to kick it into the road, which I was like, oh, okay, Yang, stop it, and then it gets hit by this truck. Just straight forward, and she's just like, oh, yeah, hang on. And then an eye roll by Blake. There it is. And we get some information by, you know, Maria about Mantle after the Great War and how they had to look up to Atlas here in this case, showcasing a no faunus sign by the door in the restaurant. And also, when driving by, there's a truck with faunus workers from the mines, like the coal mines. And, yeah. Leading Blake to comment on how this whole city seems awful. For this drunk guy to come in, very much so, just like, oh, we'll go out on the tundra then. And, like, just defending Atlas. Yeah, and Blake's being, like, the calm head here. She's like, Ruby, stop. We can't cause a scene. There's two drunk people here. The one sitting down in the back is kind of more chill. Yeah, and Blake just apologizing is like, she's really keeping this chill. Stupid faunus like you. Leading to Weiss lifting him into the air, throwing him into the trash where he belongs. Now, an interesting thing, also, she says it was worth it before running off. But that's not what I'm here about. I've heard a few things about this scene in particular. Like, some people saying it was too much. And I don't completely agree with that. Like, I can understand it for sure. I 100% can see where that side could be coming from, but at the same time, it's like, I would say in this case, yeah, he is just saying words, and she responded with lifting him up and putting him in the trash. And while, yeah, we can go and say he could have really been hurt, let's just go out of our way and say his aura protected him. I'm just going to say this. Because, even though this isn't the real world, I'm going to take this textbook out of it. It's like, for us, if something like that happened to us, if it was physically even possible, yeah, we might have got seriously hurt. Here, if anything, it caught him off guard, and he's a little thrown off. And that's just what I'm going to say here. And it was definitely more of a comedic scene for me, because when I first saw that, I laughed. Like, if we go to my reaction of this moment, I 100% laughed. Like, I wouldn't say it's funny seeing someone getting lifted and thrown, but I don't know. It's like physical violence is bad. Physical retaliation can be bad too, but words can also hurt. It's an interesting dynamic that I don't want to get into. And they're really showcasing Winter, like, talking, like, just the repeated message of, like, don't mess with the military and stuff like that. Oh, and we get to see a faunus walking out with a robotic arm. Obviously not as refined as Yang's. Oh, and we get to meet someone very interesting indeed. And, that would be Pietro. Have we met? He says so diligently. And it's amazing. Yeah, Maria trying to explain her case. Oh, it's amazing. It is amazing, yeah. But, that's that. Sorry this is all over the place. This is amazing. Like, this whole inference, so, guys. Maria, you age like a fine wine, you say. But, that's alright, I'm just taking the scene in. I like the score in the background. But, I didn't catch on to, who this guy was at first. It took me a second. Like, I made it obvious, I started noticing. But, Pietro doesn't notice for a good minute. But here, he's all talking, and then he's like, wait a second, you're Weiss Schnee. But he's also, before that, talking about how Ironwood's changed since the fall of Beacon, obviously, and how Crow says he's scared, with Pietro responding with the paranoid, which is obviously very understandable, thinking that it could be someone who's a genius or from our own sides, and he's like, it could be both. Anyone thinking Watts? And yeah, so obviously there would be paranoia for that, and it is one of our own. I'm getting to that point. But yeah, your wife Schnee. He's goes that, and then so Yang's like, hold up, what were you about to say? And he just looks over at her like, you painted it. And I'm like, wait a second. And then Ruby's like, hello, good Team RWBY. With a very, like, wait, how do you know this? And he says, like, mentioning how he heard a lot about them from his daughter, and I'm just like, oh, Penny! And I'm like, oh god. Yeah, it like, I should have noticed it. Like, there's so many little cues that should have made me notice it faster, but I didn't. And so the whole time I'm like, oh, that's Penny's inventor, Penny's dad. And also, he coughs a lot. I think I mentioned it towards, like, after, like, my reaction, like, when I was going through it again. I mentioned, like, he was coughing a lot, and I was, like, scared, and I'm, like, truly terrified. Because, as we know, it is revealed after this fight that we got for the, little sneak peek, that Penny is here, and she comes in all her glory, just laser beaming around, and she's here. And I'm ecstatic. Like, I'm one of those people who didn't think she would come back. So, you know, and also I've also heard, you know, some people didn't want her to come back, and if she did, you know, like, maybe she wouldn't have any of her memories and stuff like that, and there's people who would be fine with the fact that she's back. I could see both sides of that 100%, because I think I saw her, and my initial thoughts were, oh, Penny! And just excitement, and just joy to have Penny back. And then I was also like, huh, okay. And, you know, as you can tell, I played Danganronpa. I don't have the best luck in choosing characters I like. They die, and I just have terrible luck. So, you know, I like Penny. She died. I just was like, oh, this is fate. It always happens like that. And, you know, she's back now. But then we have freaking Pietro coughing, and, you know, he's like one of the head inventors and stuff like this, which honestly puts like a mark on his head to begin with, and he seems like sick, whether it's like maybe something normal and maybe we shouldn't be super worried about it, or maybe we should. I don't know. It's terrifying. Anyways, we are going to quickly go and get into the Penny and RWBY real quick reunion. Sal, you Tations. Yeah. In which RWBY dies. Ah, I was too slow. Guys, I want to end it quickly on a little image. Just for one, that smile. That smile is amazing. It's so calm and peaceful for the score. It's amazing. Oh, that's an interesting new one. I'm taking the long road. I know several people have probably seen this already. Oh, I missed it. Oh, but that's adorable. So anyways, long story short on this one, in my mind, I thought, you know, like when it came to this reunion in particular, I thought it would be this huge thing. But in a moment too, I was also thinking, wow, from just going off of fighting a mech, helping in the stopping of the big giant Grim, and just in general having to deal with like the apathy like a day prior and all of that, all this stress building up, and now you're seeing one of your best friends who you thought was dead, who you saw technically on all right in theory die, be alive in here. The amount of shock I can only imagine. It's just like, just this high of, huh, like confusion, to, wait, Penny? To, wait, but I thought, to her coming straight at her, at high neck-breaking speeds, just, I don't know, it's just so interesting to think about. And I think that's my biggest takeaway from this. Just, like, how crazy all of that was, and how fast all of that occurred. Just the amount of mind-blowing shock for poor RWBY in that minute. So yeah, while she didn't completely, like, give this over-extravagant, you know, reply, it's not like she had time. As when Penny goes, "We have so much to talk about. I can't wait." Alarm goes blaring. "It would seem we have to wait." That was beautiful. I'm glad to see Penny back. And it's amazing. And they do explain that they found her... I'm sorry. I wish I had subtitles here. I would 100% play them right now for this part, but, you know. Yeah, they got her pieces from the Amity Arena. Oh yeah, the strangely wholesome comment. I liked it. Alarms blaring. "We have to wait." And it's just, like, so Penny that I can't even believe it. It's just the best, really. And they're just talking... Oh. Nora's comment here. But yes. And if you look back in Volume 3, you do see that Penny's remaining parts from when she was torn apart, they weren't smashed, they were blown away. That is actually something you do see. Oh, and then this is where Crow mentions that he was expecting to be a lot rougher. And this is where the Aesops show up, and yeah, this is where things hit the fan. And so I want to get this straight. They were apprehended because they were using weapons when they weren't authorized. Like, they didn't have the private, and they're not full-fledged huntsmen or huntresses. But here's the thing, they also got Crow. So I think this isn't just about the fact that, you know, they're not, like, licensed huntresses, huntsmen. This is, like, also just because of the weapons in general, because, you know. But it's, I don't know, it's like they were seeing them protecting the city. Like, I can get it because, you know, the town seems all paranoid, and, like, there is truthfully a lot going on. But it is an interesting concept to see that there's, like, it's so bad that they can't even accept, like, extra help. Though, no doubt, Penny had that handled. It, like, them being there obviously helped the situation die down a lot faster than what possibly could have happened in that moment. And, so this leads, so, Pietro and Maria are like, "What are you doing?" And, like, trying to come, like, be like, "Hey, let them go." But the Aesops are like, "No, we have to bring them back," you know, and all that things. And that leads to them being locked up, in which this is where the episode ends, and we get the amazing, beautiful opening that is this volume's intro. And I love it. And, you know, I'm sorry. It's amazing. I don't know, once again, I'm not going to be the person to say, like, "Oh, it's my favorite, oh, this or that," but I have spammed it at least 1,000 times. My favorite part, one of my favorite parts has to be this transition between all of their freaking outfits. I'm sorry, I don't know why that gets to me, but it does. And I'm not going to show all of it in this one. I already have my reaction out. But yeah. I like just the cinematics to it, too. A lot of the times, the song is one of the first parts that draws me into it. But for this one, I really like actually like what was happening in it more than the song at first. And it's just, I don't know. Oh. I'm sorry, I like the song too now. I'm sorry, I like missed her name. But yeah, turns to Jock. I feel like we're gonna see a lot of him, and like while I'm excited, I'm also like just filled with hatred. Some of these fights are gonna look amazing. I can already think that. And their outfits, like, now that I'm seeing them a bit more in the intro, I don't think they're as, like, I don't know, I was thrown off when I first saw them. 100%. I like what I'm talking about when it comes to outfits more is like Blake's haircut. It looks nice on her. It's just after all these years of seeing her with long hair, seeing her with that short of hair just threw me off. I was like, my sister was like, "Hey, look at Weiss's ponytail," but I'm sitting there like, "Look at Blake's hair." Like I was like so attached or something, and it was just a thing. And then John. So when I first saw it, I screamed in my head, "No! What did you do?" And then after seeing it a few more times and then seeing it through the opening, I was like, okay, oddly enough, that's not taking me forever to get used to. And so, I don't know. I don't think that one's going to bother me. With Crow's new VA, I think he did amazing, honestly. Like, there was moments where obviously you can tell it's a different person, but that never, like, distracted me or made me go, huh, who is this? You know, it was still definitely a voice that really fit Crow. So I didn't really have an issue with that. It's almost like the Momiji voice, except completely different, because when it came to the new Momiji's voice, it had a German accent to it. So it was completely different. But it was one of those things where it was still fitting, and it still kind of matched. And so while it did Momiji more than Crow throw me off, it just fit too well for me to really think too much of it. And so that's really how I think about that. But I would love to hear what you guys thought about this episode. And yeah, I really can't wait. It's still Friday. I have to wait a few more hours. I have to wait quite a bit for chapter 2, but I'm excited. And let me know what you think about this. Once again, I'm going to see and try to make sure that the next one is actually up on YouTube, if physically possible. If you look back at my Volume 6 reactions, you see that I had to make the volume very quiet, and you saw that I had to, like, block half the screen. So yeah, I'm gonna do my best here. But yeah, thank you guys. This is a video that actually this is the opening reaction. I'm going to actually set a video here. Later on, probably I'll just have a playlist. But yeah, no. Thank you guys, and I hope you enjoyed the reaction to the opening, and I hope you enjoyed the Chapter 1 reaction in the description. See you guys.